One of our old friends, not just this program, but I've known him for damn near 2 decades. Big Sky Deadly Trails is the latest show. Rex Linn is here in studio. Good to see you, Rex.
Hello, brother. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm doing great. Big Sky Deadly Trails airs tonight, every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern on ABC, available to stream on Hulu the very next day. It is great to see you. How did you handle the TCU of everything being a Longhorn fan, Rex? How did you handle that?
Them going to the national championship?
Yes, sir, because they went through my school to get there. So.
I know they did, and plus I had to get over the fact that they beat us, the Longhorns. But
yes.
You know what? I was really happy for them to be there. I thought it was great. I think it was a great Cinderella story. Mm-hmm. I was really pushing for them. I was so glad. I'm not a big Michigan Wolverine fan, so it was really kind of fun to see.
Okay, very good. I totally understand that. I
well,
get it.
The Michigan Wolverines I like, but I'm not real big on the coaching.
Oh, you don't like Harbaugh? You're not a big Harbaugh guy?
Not really.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because one time they played Kansas State and Bill, the Kansas State coach. Bill Snyder was out there, and there was some incident where they went to midfield and he didn't shake Bill Snyder's hand or something, or just kind of passed him off. I can't remember what bowl it was. Anyway, from that point on, it was years ago.
You wouldn't forget it. You couldn't get through it.
I just couldn't get over it. So, and I love Bill Snyder. I've met him a couple times. Anyway, I thought Michigan would roll over TCU.
Yeah,
but
so did I.
I really did.
Didn't happen. And then Georgia just rolled over TCU.
That was terrible.
Goodness gracious.
But I was happy for TCU as far as the Cinderella story of them going, and making it. I mean, what was it, 1938, the last time they...
It's been a while. And my early recollections of knowing you, we go way back to when you first appeared on NFL Network back in the day. Visiting you on the set of CSI Miami, you having a golf cart, and you outfitted the front of it with 2 huge Longhorns on the front of your golf cart, just driving it around the set of CSI Miami.
And by the way, you still do the best Horatio from David Caruso imitation that ever was.
I appreciate that.
It was amazing. David Caruso even said it. So he did.
Well, and you were so kind enough to be part of our show open prior to. There we are. There's you and I. You're reprising your famous role. From there. We resurrected Sergeant Frank Tripp, and there I am as Caruso for our Miami Super Bowl back in 2019.
You were amazing. By the way, let me just go back real quick.
Yes.
When I say I'm not a big Michigan Wolverine fan, I am a huge fan of college football. I told you the story a long time ago, but I'll make it brief.
Go ahead.
When Texas played Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and we won that field goal, Dusty Mangum kicked it with 2 seconds left. Before in pregame, I think I'm a big helmet man, and I think the Michigan Wolverines are second only to the Texas Longhorns with the coolest helmet in college football. At pregame, there was a big offensive lineman for Michigan Wolverines, and they were warming up, and they were in the end zone, and he had his helmet, and it was on the ground, and I just kept looking at it, and I just wanted to hold it. And I was with Butch Worley, who at the time was the senior associate athletic director at Texas, and I was looking down. He goes, "What are you looking at?" And I said, I just want to hold that helmet.
Did you pick it up off the ground?
I asked the guy, the lineman.
Yeah.
I told you this a long time ago. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I hold your helmet?" And this kid, he was like 6'7", 310. He looked up to me. He goes, "What?" I said, "Can I hold your helmet?" And he goes, "I guess." So I just picked it up and looked at it, and I said, I was trying to tell him why I wanted to. I said, "This is the best looking helmet on the planet." He just looked at me like, "This bald dude is weird." So I just set the helmet back down. But they do have the greatest helmet.
I remember that day. I was there at that game as well. It was the year after Texas played USC in one of the greatest Rose Bowls and greatest college football games ever.
You're right.
And I just remember, okay, we finally made the Rose Bowl. It was the first time in a long time. And I got to see Vince Young and everybody else coming back at me, and that was... What an incredible team that was. How jacked are you for Arch Manning, Rex? How jacked are you for this kid?
Okay, so can I tie that right into a story that I wanted to
Rex,
do here?
Are
you guys ready for a story?
Oh, yeah. By the way, these guys, just bringing it all together,
yes.
They were saying that on the set of our shoot for our Super Bowl, You guys were in the
We
tent.
were in a tent just listening to Rex tell stories.
Right. So they loved.
He sat with us like we'd been friends since day one.
That's Rex Linn. Okay, go for it. The floor is yours.
Okay, so my girlfriend, Reba McEntire, had invited me to come to the CMAs this past year, but they also invited me to give the Best Song of the Year award with Reba. Now, I have two stories about this.
Yes.
I knew that Peyton Manning was going to co-host with Luke Bryan. My mission going to the CMAs was to go and subtly pick his brain to make sure Arch was going to sign with Texas, because we'd already lost to TCU and we lost to Alabama. We lost to Oklahoma State and lost to Alabama. And there were rumors on the internet that Arch might be looking elsewhere. So we get to the CMAs. Lo and behold, we go to Reba's dressing room, and right here, 7 feet from her door, Peyton Manning's dressing room. And the door was open. And I thought, do I dare? So we walked in Reba's dressing room, and I'm just kind of looking around. She goes, you want some coffee or something? I said, no, I got an issue here. and she goes, what's wrong? And I said, did you see who's next door? And she said, no. And I said, well, come here. And we opened up the door and we put it open. I said, look. And she said, Peyton Manning, that's great, Rex. And I said, but I got to get some information from him. And she said, do you know him? And I said, no, but this is huge. And so I walked around.
This is crucially important.
So I walked around her dressing room for 10 minutes trying to think how I was going to get in there. And his door was open. I didn't even know if he was in there. So finally, Reba goes, why don't you just walk over and knock on the door or knock on it?
Great idea.
I walked over and I peeked around the corner.
Yes.
And there's Peyton, and he's reading the script.
Yes.
You know, he's studying because he's getting ready to MC, man.
And by the way, this is serious business for him. I've done events with him. Like this is not just him. Like he's literally in prep mode. He treats everything like it is the Super Bowl.
I might as well have walked in Robert De Niro's dressing room before he was doing Taxi, because he was looking. He was by himself. He's just like this, and he's looking. And I just picked, and I probably talked in a high voice. I probably went, "Excuse me, Peyton." I said, "Hey, Peyton," and he looked up. He didn't even look up like. And I love him. He's a great guy. Of
course.
He did, but he didn't look up like, "Hey, come on in." He looked at me like Reagan from The Exorcist. I mean, he didn't. And I said, "Hey, I'm Rex Linn. I'm right next door with Reba, and I actually met you on the University of Texas sideline one day." And he goes, "Hey, Rex, come on in." And so I came in, and I'm thinking, I wonder how I bring up Arch, because you can't ask him about recruiting.
You got to warm him up, but but you also probably got the sense that he didn't have much time here.
He didn't.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, so I had to figure out how to navigate that. Eventually, I just cut to the chase, and I said, boy, I tell you, we are so excited about Arch. And he literally did this. and all of a sudden, my heart rate went up, my mouth got dry, and I was I wish I'd have never brought this up now. And I said, now I'm not asking, and I just dug myself in the ground. I went, now I'm not asking for any information. I'm just saying as a fan, I'm a big fan of Arch's, and we're sure hoping he goes to Texas. And he looked at me and smiled, and he goes, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're okay. I mean, I don't know. He said, you know, these guys are 18 years old. They've changed. They don't even know where they're going to go eat a cheeseburger. I mean, it was that kind of thing. Wow. And then I thought, okay, eject. But right before I psychologically ejected, he goes, hey, is Reba? So he immediately cut off, because he wanted to meet Reba.
There you go.
Yeah, and he goes, is Reba next door? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, is she busy, or is she got? I guess she is probably. And I said, no. You want to meet her? And he said, yeah. And I'm thinking, my conversation about football and Arch Manning is over right now. I said, well, come on. He goes, yeah. Well, is it the second they met? He wanted to know about Loretta Lynn. He had questions about, and he and Reba just hit it off. And we actually have a picture right there. So see, right next to the left of Peyton is his room, and there's Reba's. That's how close we were.
Wow.
So you didn't say, well, I can get Reba to commit to a meeting with you.
If you can get me on the phone with Art, yeah.
Because
exactly.
I just need to close this deal here.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, like we had Steve Sarkisian, the coach, on during the season, and we were told in advance you cannot ask him about Arch questions because December is when he will have to physically sign his letter.
Right.
And even the night before the signing day, there was rumors red hot that there was a big name player that was going to switch schools at the last second.
I thought it was him.
And we did. We're sending texts to each other.
I was sure it was him.
And he's just sending it nonstop about it.
Yeah.
And he just, we were freaking out, but
thank God.
he's coming.
Yeah.
He signed.
Yeah, he is. I hope
coming.
it works out. You know, do I have time for another CMA story?
Please.
So, you guys, I only had 4 lines to come out on the stage.
Yes.
And Reba says, we're not really like our characters on Big Sky. And then at the end, she says, but we don't slice people's throats, and we're not mean, and blah, blah, blah. And then my line is, and I'm not bald. And then I'm supposed to introduce the song of the year. Back up. The first series ever on Paramount Television was a series called Waco. I played Dick DeGuerin, who was David Koresh's attorney. And he was the first and only one that went into that compound to talk to them that was a civilian that was outside of before all the tragedy happened in there. And so I played Dick DeGuerin, and I had met him. And so there's a big scene in Waco in this tent where I come in and I meet these FBI agents. One of the FBI agents was Michael Shannon, one of the great actors that we have.
He's now playing
George and Tammy.
Right. Which
is a phenomenal series. In that scene, his character was not my adversary. We were negotiating. The FBI didn't want Dick DeGuerin to go in and talk to him, but he said, I'm going in, I'm his attorney. So I'm negotiating how I'm going to go in. They made me do that. They made Dick DeGuerin walk 200 yards to the compound. So they had snipers out there, and they had to organize this whole thing. And we had great actors in that room. Shea Winning, John Leguizamo, we had Glenn Fleshler, a lot of great actors. I had 9 actors in there. I had most of the dialogue with Shannon. But during rehearsals, Michael Shannon was standing over in the corner of the tent, and he was just staring at me. I'm talking about like he might have been a serial killer or something. And during rehearsals, I was thinking, well, I wonder why. First of all, he's not right here with us. And why is he over there? And why is he staring at me? This went on for 10 or 15 minutes. It was a stare. I don't know if he was preparing or whatever.
I wouldn't want to be on the business end of a Michael Shannon stare. He's been on this show in that chair, too.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, and I just want to, he's a brilliant actor.
He
and
is.
Sometimes you can't tell if,
You can't tell hardly
what the preparation's
anything
going
about
on
it.
here. Yeah.
So I worked with him for 4 days, and he just stared at me. Fast forward to the CMAs. I'm nervous. Reba comes over. She goes, "You doing okay?" I go, "Yeah, I'm ready. I got 4 lines here. We're at Bridgestone Arena. It's sold out. The second they said Reba McEntire and Rex Linn, I got so nervous, and we had to walk down this long thing where the microphone's at the end of this long runway.
Yeah.
And Reba starts off. She goes, on Big Sky, she starts talking, and I'm faking that, I'm the boyfriend, and I'm just smiling and everything. And I look over, Michael Shannon is right there, and he's looking at me the same way he did on Waco. And that said, he's looking, he's not talking to anybody at his table. He doesn't have a date there or anything, I don't think. He's glaring at me. He's right here. He's 10 feet from me. And I just happened to go. I was listening to Reba, and I went, and I looked, and he's staring at me. And I panicked, you guys. And I forgot my line to say, yeah, and I'm not bald. So I just looked straight ahead, and Reba says, "You can watch it." So Reba goes, and she finishes her last line, and I'm going. And then I go, yeah, and I'm not bald. It didn't even come out right. I was just thinking, Shannon got to me again.
Yeah.
He got to me again.
There you go. Shannon. That's right, Shannon. Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Fantastic.
I did actually. You know, at the end of that show, the day we wrapped,
But the Big Sky or the
no,
CMAs?
on Waco.
Okay, on Waco.
Panda was a girl. That's her nickname. She was a base camp girl, and I said, "Hey, I want to try to get a picture with Michael Shannon before I leave." And she goes,
No chance.
"Yeah, well, that's not going to happen." and I said, "Why not?" She goes, "Well, he's been on the show, you know, for quite a while, and there's not really we're not taking pictures." And I said, "Where is he?" She said, "Well, he's on his way back from the set." And I said, "Tell me when he gets here." And she goes, "Okay." So she knocked on my door. She goes, "Michael's here." I gave her my phone. I said, "Follow me." I walk around. He had one of those big Star Traders, you know. I walk around, and he had forgotten to give his microphone backpack thing. So he was undoing it on his steps. And just down. I said, "Hey, Michael." And he turned around and looked at me, and I said, "It's been great working with you." And he's looking at me like, "What could you possibly want? Because you're wrapped." And I, you know, that's the way he looked at me. And I said, "I have a wall of shame in my house with pictures, and I think that you and I belong on the wall of shame. So is there any way we could get a quick picture?" And he thought about it for about 5 seconds. He goes, "Yeah, I guess I belong on that wall. I don't know, man." So we took this picture. I wish I had it with me.
No, that's all right.
Literally, the picture is me smiling big and him looking like it's the last place he ever wanted to be.
Well, you and Michael Shannon, you should do a show together. It'll be great. CSI Shannon.
Did you talk to him at CMAs? Did you go up to him at the...
No.
Hell no.
No.
Absolutely not. Hanging out for 5 more minutes before the end of the show here with Rex Linn. Big Sky Deadly Trails airing tonight every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Available to stream on Hulu the next day. Loved you in Better Call Saul. You're great in that, man. What a great series that just wrapped up in that.
One of the best.
And obviously, you know, so much... in your TV and film career, and CSI Miami is how we first got to meet. You know, Rex was part of the Celebrity Fantasy Football League that we had in NFL Network because we were trying to figure out how to crack the fantasy football code on NFL Total Access when we first were born, about how to, you know, make it enjoyable for fans. Now, you know, you have so-called experts who come on and tell you, play this guy, play that guy. But we had you had a celebrity fantasy league, and the trophy, the name of the trophy, the winner was a wooden football nicknamed
The Woody.
it was that's what it was called.
Oh.
You won the Woody.
Hey, now.
It was amazing.
And that's what we referred to it. And you won it one year, right? Didn't
Well,
you
I
win it one year?
did, and I was proud of it. And I tell the story to people. It's odd to tell the story because I love my Woody. And, well, it's the Woody.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. And so I was telling Reba, I was so excited about coming back on the show. And I said, "Man," she goes, "Do you know Rich?" And I said, "Oh, we go way back to he gave me a Woody in 2000. I couldn't remember the day." She goes, "What?" And I said, No. The trophy is a wooden football. It's called the Woody. And I beat Paul Rudd in the finals. His team was Tastes Like Chicken. Mine was T-Rex.
Yes.
And it still sits, my Woody still sits on my desk. And it's one of the most proud things that I own.
And Paul Rudd would come up to you whenever you saw him, like you stole my Woody.
Yeah, I saw him on the red carpet not long after that, and he said, "Where'd you put your Woody?" And I said, "I got it on my desk, man." He goes, "I wanted it." And I said, "Well, a lot of people do, but I've got it."
Some Entertainment Tonight hot mic would be like, "What was this? What do we put? Wrap that back, run that back." Oh my gosh! Yeah, we've known each other.
I was proud of that, though. That was
there were a lot. Garland was in it. Like there were some serious fantasy football players.
When we filmed the draft,
yes.
Who was the comedian?
Who was the comedian that we had on? I don't know. There was
from Seinfeld or no from. I'll think of his name in a second. Anyway, he was over here. Paul Rudd was over here. They had all their graphs and rulers and stuff,
and
they
at the
were
time magazines.
Yes.
And I stopped at Van Nuys in Ventura and got that NFL Draft magazine.
That's right.
So I sat down. Not Glenn. I'll think of his name in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, I opened it up and I was looking, and they were drawing. They had graphs and stuff.
Yeah.
And Rudd looked over at me. He goes, "Is that what you brought to the draft?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'll never forget it." He goes, and this fired me up, man, to win this thing. He just looked over and he goes, "Well, good luck with that." And I beat his butt. I can tell you that.
Tastes like chicken. I
Tastes like-
forgot
I
that was the
remember
name
that
of that.
Yeah.
I remember that all week.
Rex, real quick, I saw this movie last week out of nowhere, just popped up. Any good Stallone stories from Cliffhanger?
Yeah.
Do you got a 90-second one? Because we're out in 90 seconds.
A quick story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about Stallone.
Nope, they're all too long.
Let's see.
Yeah.
He's going on in his head right now. Well, how about this? We've got about a minute and a half on the Roku side of things when we're done with this program. I'll give you 3 minutes to think of a 90-second.
I'll think when I have something to show you. Real quick.
Yeah, what do you got?
Can we do
Sure.
it?
Yeah,
Hey,
what do you
look.
got? Yeah.
Last time I was here, you guys.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
Well, first of all, it would appear that it's a
Crown Royal bag.
a bottle of Crown Royal. It would appear.
What's in the Crown Royal?
However, even to the most
Chris
casual,
Bosh championship race
even
in
to
there?
the most casual observer, it would appear to be a bottle of Crown Royal. I pride myself on coffee cups.
I do it.
I love coffee cups, and I don't have any ones, two of the same.
Yeah.
Last time I was on the show, I asked for a Rich Eisen coffee cup,
Yeah.
and they were out, but they sent me one about a week later, and it was cracked.
I remember this.
Yeah,
I remember
and so
this.
I called and I asked your assistant at the time. I said that I would like a Rich Eisen cup because it's my favorite
It's
cup.
cracked.
And he said, "No problem." They never sent me one.
Oh, we're on it.
I will admit that was me, and I remember what happened. This was right around the pandemic,
Oh,
right?
it was you.
It was
I
around
remember
20
now.
Yeah, it was right around the pandemic when everything went to crap, and I completely
Well,
forgot.
we're about to fix
My
you up
bad.
with one, Rex. Thank you. All right, we got 90 seconds left. Here is Rex Linn telling a great story about Stallone's jacket from the Cliffhanger. Is that what it is?
The whole time we were filming, I was wearing about 75 pounds of down jacket. You know, I had a down jacket, down pants, and all. And Stallone was about half naked the whole movie. He had spandex things on, and he had this jacket, real light jacket, but it was really great looking. And for 5.5 months, I would walk by him and go, "Man, you just got all the cool stuff and that jacket." So I would make a comment about that jacket over a period of 5.5 months. The last day we were filming, all the actors had gone back to the States or wherever they lived. Some of them were in Europe, but the last day of filming, it was just Stallone and me. And when they officially wrapped us, we were at the Cinecittà stages in Rome.
Yeah.
And Stallone just walked over and took his jacket off, handed it to me. He goes, "There you go, brother." And
Where's the jacket now?
It's at my house.
Near the Woody? Is it
And
near the Woody?
It's very close to the Woody. Yeah, so I've got my Stallone jacket and my Woody.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're the
And,
best, Rex Linn. Thanks for coming on, man.
Rich, thank you for having me. You're the
Let's
best
do it
too,
again.
brother.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.